Have you or someone you know ever been arrested? Or maybe you've seen news reports of arrests being made. If so, you may know about the different kinds of punishments, also called sentences, that people can receive if they're determined guilty. The sentences can range from being fined a some amount of money, time ranging in jail from days to life, and if the crime is serious enough, they can receive the death penalty. Today I'm going to inform you of the positive and negative effects of the controversial death penalty, also known as capital punishment. I am qualified to speak on this topic as I have done extensive research. I will do this by informing you of the people who have received the sentence, the ways the death penalty can deter crime, the risk of killing innocent people with the death penalty, and the death penalty is a waste of time and money compared to other forms of punishment. Firstly, some people believe that the death penalty is the correct sentence for the people who have committed such heinous crimes, that these terrible people deserve this punishment. As Charles Stimson covered in his 2019 article titled "The Death Penalty is Appropriate," there are cases where the crime is so terrible, the people who committed it deserve the death penalty. The main example he used was the case of Genny Rojas from 1995. Genny was only 4 years old when her aunt and uncle tortured her. Genny was suspended alive by a hook on a closet wall where she was strangled, beaten, and handcuffed for days. She died after being forced into a scalding bathtub for 3 minutes. The Supreme Court would uphold their convictions and send them to death row. A statistic he brought up from a study showed that 29 states and the people's representatives in Congress fully support the death penalty, saying that it should be available for the worst of the worst. The second point I have is that the death penalty acts as a deterrent to those wanting to commit violent crimes. The National Academic Press website includes information about the deterrent effects of capital punishment. It states that because the death penalty increases the price of murder, there will be less of it. If people know that they will receive a death sentence by committing crimes, then they would most likely not commit them at all. If the death penalty were to ever be deemed illegal and can't be used anymore, people would see that there aren't extreme punishments for crimes, and they'll start committing more. On the contrary, some people want to abolish the death penalty because of how risky it is. The first point against the death penalty I have is that there is a risk of killing innocent people who are wrongfully convicted of a crime. Robert Dunham writes in his 2017 report in the Death Penalty Information Center, "In death penalty cases, pre-jury and false accusations and official misconduct are leading causes of wrongful convictions." Dunham reported that misconduct was a factor in 571 of 836 homicide exonerations in 2017. And that's only in cases where it was found that number could be even more. In all those cases, the person who was arrested was determined to be wrongfully convicted, so it's obvious that innocent people do end up blamed for crimes they didn't commit. This just shows the flaws in the justice system and shows that it's possible for someone to be wrongfully convicted and sentenced to death. In a study of cases from 2007 to 2017, it was found that there were 34 cases of death row exonerations because that person wasn't actually guilty of the crime. The risk-reward ratio just doesn't seem worth it if innocent people's lives are at stake. The last point I have is that the death penalty is a waste of money compared to other forms of punishment. In a 2012 article done by the American Civil Liberties Union, they determined that the death penalty is not worth it because of the cost. A study done showed that if the death penalty was to be reintroduced in New York, the cost of the capital trial alone would be more than double the cost of a life term in prison. By removing the death sentence, time and money would be saved and could be put towards other matters. A statement from public officials supports the removal of the death penalty, stating that wherever the death penalty is in place, it siphons off resources which could be going to the front line in the war against crime. The only way to make the death penalty cost effective would be to weaken due process, in which turn weakens the justice system. By informing you that the death penalty can deter crime, could be a deserving punishment, comes with the risk of killing innocent people and the cost of it, I hope you now understand the positive and negative effects of the death penalty being an obtainable sentence. So do you think that the death penalty is a suitable punishment, or should we abolish it completely? Thank you.